Raskin, rather.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, Director Wray. Thank you for your service, and thanks also for reminding us that if we see something, we should say something. And I see Donald Trump telling his followers that he is about to be reinstated as President of the United States in August. So I wanted to make sure I said something so the FBI can be on top of that situation, given that he's incited violence against the government before. But I wonder if you can help us understand what the FBI did on June 1st, 2020 versus what it did on January 6th, 2021. On June 1st, 2020, we saw a full-blown government assault on hundreds of Americans who had peacefully assembled in Lafayette Square in the nation's capital to speak and petition government for redress of grievances relating to the murder of George Floyd. And then America watched as federal law enforcement in riot gear and on horseback cleared peaceful protesters and reporters firing pepper balls and flash grenades into the crowd. It's been reported that around 2 p.m. on that day, top law enforcement and military officials assembled at the FBI command center, your command center, for a planning meeting in advance of this assault on the civil rights protesters. And so I want to ask you, who was the senior most FBI official present handling the Bureau's actions on that day? Was that you? If not you, who was it? And what was the FBI's general role and function in the events of June 1st?
Well, there were a lot of people going in and out of the command post over the course of that day, so I'm not sure I can speak exactly to who was doing what at 2 o'clock that afternoon about a year ago. But it's important to be clear about what we're talking about here. You asked about the FBI's role. So the FBI did not on June 1st of 2020 or on January 6th. We don't have the skills, the job responsibility, the training, the equipment, or the responsibility to engage in crowd control, riot control, things of that sort. So we were not engaged in that kind of activity on June 1st or on January 6th. We do have a command post at the Washington field office, and at some point on the day that you're referring to, at some point, at different points of the day, especially in the evening and at nighttime, I was over there. I was not in Lafayette Square. I was in the Washington field office command post for a good part of that night. At different parts of the day, other senior executives at the FBI were coming and going. But the activity that you're describing is not the FBI's. You asked about the FBI's role. That was not the FBI's role.
What was the FBI's role?
So we had a few different things. One was to provide I think our folks do a very good job of running command posts that bring different agencies together so that they can all sit shoulder to shoulder and exchange information, let each other know what they're doing, et cetera. So that's one thing we did. Second, we are an intelligence agency. So to the extent that we have intelligence to collect, to analyze, and to disseminate, we do that. Third, we have tactical response. So if there is an incident that occurs where there's a crime being committed, we in certain instances have the ability to send a SWAT team to respond, and we sometimes do that. And then last but not least, we investigate criminal activity. We are, after all, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, not the Federal Bureau of Security, not the Federal Police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and so we do that. And so our folks would have been in a variety of ways providing support to our partners using the skill sets that we have, which are extensive but not the same as a lot of our federal partners.
Okay, so I wonder if you would just translate those four functions that you played on June 1st, 2020 to January 6th. Did you activate the command post on January 6th? Were you operating as an intelligence agency? Was there tactical response? And were you doing investigation on that day?
So as a general matter, all four of those same things applied on January 6th as well. We had the command post, just like we did back in June. We had the command post stood up at the Washington field office. We also had, just like we did back in June, a national command post stood up at our SIOC at headquarters. We were collecting, analyzing, and sharing intelligence when we had it. We had SWAT teams at the ready to deploy, and as we all know now, At the appropriate time, or at some point in time over the course of the afternoon, we were asked to send our SWAT team, and we did. And we did investigative activity.
And were you present yourself on January 6th?
I was present in one of the command posts in the national command post at headquarters. So yeah, I was in one of the command posts, yes.
Gentleman's time has expired. Mr. Bishop?